Jack Canfield here with another episode of Talking About Success. I have a wonderful guest today, Denise Pancyrz, who is the author of this wonderful little book called The Virgin Diabetic. We'll talk about how you came up with that title in just a minute. She's also a coach, a speaker. She runs workshops on reversing the deadly effects of type 2 diabetes. Very important. A couple of people in my family have had that. A type 2 diabetic herself, she was on 4 insulin shots a day and a handful of medications, and she defied the medical community when she was told she would never be rid of this, the shots, the medications, and she reversed her diabetes. Good for you.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about that because that's a big issue for a lot of people in our culture and seemingly increasingly. So let's talk about the book here, The Virgin Diabetic. How did you come up with the title for this?
Well, when I was looking for a catchy name for a disease that's not very exciting, but most importantly, it was because when I was diagnosed, I really didn't know much about diabetes. I knew what the average person knew. So I needed that as a place to start. And I researched everywhere. I read every book, every article, every blog that you could read. I questioned doctors, I questioned diabetics, and came to understand that it's still a disease that we struggle with, and people don't completely understand how to manage through that, let alone think about even reversing it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I read this book today. I really like it. It's well written, it's personal, it's informational, it's inspiring, got a lot of valuable information in it. So now you've created a blueprint.
I have.
For reversing diabetes.
Yes.
Talk about how you created that.
Well, I'm certified as a Six Sigma Green Belt, and that methodology is really about creating, streamlining processes, getting to the root of a problem, and that's how I took the approach with reversing diabetes. I looked at what were the root causes for me to be hypoglycemic when your sugar levels are way too low and it's dangerous. And the answer was the insulin and the medication. And what caused me to become hyperglycemic when your sugar levels are way too high, and that was the food that I was eating or what I was drinking. And by changing those two components, I realized I can give my body the nourishment that it really needs and completely become drug-free and insulin-free.
So we could treat the symptom, or we could go back and treat the root cause, which is what you did.
Absolutely.
Now, not everyone watching this knows what a Six Sigma Green Belt. I think it's some new martial art, and you've got a green belt in it. So for some of our people who aren't in the corporate world, explain what a Six Sigma is.
Six Sigma is a methodology that is really used in like Toyota, a lot of manufacturing, and it's taking apart your processes and removing waste. What are the things that are not working? What do you need to improve? And how do you streamline and become, in essence, more profitable?
So you use that to engineer your system for this diabetes issues you had.
Exactly.
So that's a unique approach. Not many people would put that together. So I love that how you did it. Now, you work with clients.
I do.
Talk about a client you've done this with and how you've helped them, because we know you're sitting here radiant and healthy and all that. We got it. But what do you do with a client? And give us an example of what's happened with someone.
Well, one of the first things I would typically do with a client is we go into their home and we clean out their kitchen. We just get rid of all of the bad food, all the bad drinks. It's a cleansing, so to speak.
Cleansing the kitchen.
Cleansing the kitchen, and then that allows us to cleanse the body.
Right.
So that's really our first step in the process. And then eventually we really look at, what are the foods we should or can be eating, and what can we drink, because drinks are also very important. And grocery shopping. And then we go to restaurants and cafes, places that people want to be at, because we're very social. So we're not always going to be in our homes for those meals. And so I teach people how do you need to talk to the wait staff? What are the questions you need to ask? How do you simplify and enjoy eating out again? Because for a while I didn't. And I knew I was going to be in a restaurant again. We all show up in restaurants for parties, things like that. So it's important to understand what you can and cannot do, but mainly enjoy your life.
So I think it's really important. A lot. You read a book, it says change your lifestyle, change your diet. That's really easy. I'm saying forgive your mother.
Right.
How do you really do that? And so you really walk people through doing it. So you get to the other side. You got a coach by your side, a guy by your side.
Absolutely.
That's fabulous. So one of the things you write about in your book is how doctors, by and large, don't have really good nutritional education.
Correct.
And how often when they think they're going to give you a low sugar diet, it really doesn't become that.
No.
And so do you recommend people stop listening to their doctors, keep working with their doctors? I'm just curious what's your position on that.
You know, I think it's important that you work with your doctor, and I really think the doctors appreciate it. So when I work with my clients, we talk about the lab testing they may want to have and to understand it. And I help them ask the questions they need to be asking with their physician. So it really becomes a team so you can regain your health. It's very difficult to do it on your own. And I get reviews coming back saying their doctors are happy. Whatever they're doing, keep doing it. They're creating a better communication with their physician. So all around, I think it's better for everyone, mostly the patient, but for everyone.
So nutrition is a huge part of what this program is all about.
Yes, it is.
Do you think it's really that simple?
You know what? In the beginning, I didn't until I put my blueprint together, and I realized it really is about food. And food is what we need to survive. It gives us the nutrients we need. It gives us the energy we need. And so it really is that simple.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I wish we had more time. I'd ask you a lot more questions. We don't. But if people want to get a hold of you, first of all, the book is available where?
It's available on Amazon.com. It's available at Tate Publishing and Barnes & Noble.
Okay. And if they want to get a hold of you as a possible coach, a workshop leader, a speaker, where do they go?
The easiest place would be reversemydiabetes.net.
Reversemydiabetes.net. That's easy to remember.
Yes.
Okay. Well, God, what a wonderful experience. I wish
Thank
we had
you.
more time, as I said. Thank you for being my guest. This is a great resource. So if you have diabetes, if you know someone who has diabetes, or if you're pre-diabetic, which a lot of us are and don't even know, so it's good to get tested, I would really recommend this book. As I mentioned, I read it today. It's got a lot of valuable information in it. If you'd like to work with Denise as a coach, have her speak to your group, have her come to one of her workshops perhaps, go to her website. This is good stuff. So stick around. We'll be right back after this message.